Can you imagine waking up in a morgue and you don't know how you got there? You don't know how you got their ability. Then you find out you're not actually Alex Mercer when you thought you was Alex Mercer, but you're really actually the Black Light virus itself. It was a virus released by the real Alex Mercer before he died, but then you thought you're the real one, but the real one's really dead. God dang it, Mercer, you released the vile plague. Black Light virus ended up being renamed the Mercer virus. Some folks that get infected kind of act like mindless monsters or zombies or some crap. At the very beginning, he was ridiculously strong, but as time went by, he got stronger as time went by. Part of this is thanks to his consumability he acquired to be able to consume beings, their life force, allowing him to heal, also grow stronger, and he's absorbed an unknown amount of beings or people. This also allows him to shapeshift and kind of blend into the environment so people won't even know he's actually Alex Mercer, to the point he even gets their freaking memories, so he can really act like he's them without nobody suspecting different. His code name is even Zoo. Alex Mercer. To really prove his power evolution, there used to be infected that was above Alex, but he eventually, later on in this video, I'm going to show you how he surpassed this particular being, for example. Let you know that he did go through quite a bit of power evolution. He has a lot of abilities similar to symbiote type characters from Marvel Comics, being able to make deadly blades, increase his mass, and make himself have thick fists to increase his raw punching power. Legit claws like Wolverine, can stretch himself like a whip. The limits of his stretching ability seems to have no bounds because, yeah, it's just devastating. Can affect a large area with the spikes he can produce or tendrils like symbiotes. Can create like blast of force as well as giving himself extra durability or thickness, so armor, so he won't be able to be harmed easy, or just literally make a shield. By the time the game ProtoType 2 came about, there were other beings that were kind of similar to him and had their own abilities just like him, but just to a lesser degree. Despite all of this, he is the original. He is undisputedly the most powerful of those infected with the virus, so anything they can do, he can do better. Or like 50-foot behemoths. James Heller is able to overpower 50-foot behemoths with his raw strength. He can not only lift up tanks with ease, but he can literally rip them apart like that. This is James Heller that did this, but this should apply for Alex too. Alex Mercer literally fought James Heller, clashes with James Heller, even overpowers the said being that did this a couple times. More lore about the Goliath on why Mercer is impressive, same with Heller. It's too strong to be taken down by conventional weaponry. They're still stronger than things like this. Just to give you an idea of his raw physical strength or how he can do people's heads like that. Physically strong enough to rip hatches off a literal tank. Let that sink in. Lifting up cars is actually pretty considered easy to him. He can catch him. Multiple infected try to gangbang him. He's still way stronger than your average infected. Even if they team up on him, it doesn't matter. He has too much physical strength. He has no problem breaking concrete just by landing, like boom, lifting people up in the air. He's way stronger than his size, can toss humans like they're nothing, can throw objects into helicopters strong enough to break the helicopters apart, tears open the door of a helicopter. He can stretch to a helicopter. In this occasion when he was powered up versus James Heller, during his fight, just grabs a helicopter like it's nothing to throw it at him. Strong enough to flip tanks in the air like that's nothing. Could weigh 60 plus tons because it looks like the tank that he threw is similar to ones in real life. He can toss 60 plus ton tanks in the air like it's easy. If you think you're safe far away, you're not safe far away because he could just grab you from far away like that. With his whip fist ability fighting other beings strong like him. After being stabbed a couple times by James Heller, it seems like that doesn't do much work thanks to his durability and regeneration. Hits him that hard. Simply from just landing with this much force, he can create a lot of shockwaves to knock over. But imagine him hitting you. I wouldn't want to get punched by this guy because he can punch through you. That's what you would call a yikes. No head. He can make his fist dense enough to make big old chunks of debris fly, slicing through soldiers with ease. Never stood a chance. Y'all just need to run at this point. It's like fighting a symbiote, bruh. He even slammed James Heller with this hammer fist. Confirmed that he's strong enough to smash through a 2-foot steel door. You wanna know the real reason why destroying a Supreme Hunter like this is impressive? It's simply because hunters can do that to tanks like it ain't no big deal. Just from freaking landing. Did I mention there was a time where these Supreme Hunters could actually match mid-ish game Alex Mercer in the beginning of his first game, not counting the second game power-ups and all that strength he increased. Obviously, they're no match for him no more, but there was a point where these actually were a match for him. Look how much seismic activity beings that Alex Mercer has fought. Yeah, all of that power. Not to mention Mercer has surpassed this being. This is like in the first game. Did I fail to mention that Alex Mercer can actually overpower this same being, Elizabeth? Did I forget to mention that he beat this being and even absorbed her power? So he should be stronger than this big thing. Using velocity and stuff like that, he can produce that much energy and pretty much level a building, one could say. Superhuman reflexes, shielding himself from grenade launchers, fast enough to outrun his sniper shot, at least has supersonic reflexes, I would say. As a default, since he's enhanced, even though he doesn't really need to avoid the bullets, he can just kind of avoid it if he feels like it. Not to mention, he can literally just withstand it if he just has to. Fine after getting hit from rocket launchers. He's even withstood hits from barrages of missiles before, like, yo, he gets shot directly in the head. He was pretending to be somebody else, and he is fine because of healing factors. His regeneration is so insane, even a nuclear blast that's this wide that should have incinerated him completely, he regenerates from that because a piece of slime gets on a bird like this, reforms that way by consuming the bird. How do you fight something that can make this many limbs of itself on the spot? You really have no way to avoid his attack. Check out the super move that James Heller can split the moon in half with a tendril whip. Like, bro, that's funny. Could they do it if they kept evolving? Heck, what if the whole planet turned into a giant piece of biomass and they absorbed like the planet or something crap? In order to get a true understanding of how strong Alex Mercer actually got throughout his timeline, beginning of ProtoType, he's a completely different guy in power level compared to his end of the game self of ProtoType 2 drastically. How many beings did he absorb in the actual narrative without using gameplay mechanics? And look at the Supreme Hunter doing all this to the environment. Even the helicopter gets destroyed. This being was a match for Alex Mercer in the early part of the game, but this is now the end part of the game. James Heller, who's the main guy of ProtoType 2, fought a whole bunch of Evolve that could harm him or give him some damage or issues. To get a good idea of Mercer's strength is to look at all the Evolve that he was working with. They all should be comparable to his early self in the very first game. And this dude literally said, let me absorb all of them, like all of these beings to fight freaking Heller. As you can see, absorb that one, that one, that one, to power himself even more. If we assume all of them can at least lift 100 tons, which we know they probably can, Mercer in his earlier days can lift a tank up with one arm. 9 different Evolved times 100, that would be like 900 plus tons plus his own strength. That would be like thousands of plus tons of raw power he absorbed. Insane, ain't it? This is thanks to absorbing that many evolved beings. But that could be me just tripping. How strong do you think Alex Mercer is? What do you think these ProtoType beings' potential is? Let me know what you guys think. But I also absolutely have to give a shout out to those that took the time to donate to the channel. It helps out a lot, believe it or not. Respect Alex Mercer.